Hello and welcome. I'm Maeve Crawford, and I've decided today to have a conversation with somebody who has come into my world in the last few months. And I've been listening to his videos, watching his videos, and reading his posts on Facebook. And I have just been really captured and enamored with the message that's coming from him. And I particularly admire and respect the honesty and the wisdom that is shining through. Dave Kwiecinski, if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, has written a short story when he was 12 years old, which I completely applaud, and wrote his first book in 2014. And that book is, I'm just going to check my notes, 4 Simple Steps to Healthy, Happy Holidays. Now, healthy and happy are incredible to be able to achieve both during the holiday season when, you know, you're eating and you're doing all kinds of stuff and possibly having all sorts of stress with relatives, in-laws, and whatever else is going on in your life. So that is a book that I'll definitely be exploring, because that's a period which is fraught with challenge at times, albeit that it's meant to be a time of peace and harmony and love and unity, etc. And the reason I'm talking to Dave today is because one of the videos that he shared that really captured me was he was talking about the idea of forgiveness and what that is about. So we're going to talk about that a bit later on, but I want to share with you something that I loved about his website. I had a look on, he's got 2 websites. One is his philosophy of life, basically, and I'll give you the links underneath the video for both his websites, and the other one is his fitness website. So there's some interesting stuff coming through from this person, and I just want to share with you the humor with which Dave communicates about himself. And I read a lot of websites and a lot of people's about pages, and they usually, you know, flow on about this is what I've done and this is who I am and this is what I do for people and so on and so on. But Dave's has a flavor of it's a genuine, authentic uniqueness, which I just love this. And we've been chuckling with each other before we hit the record button. So I'm really looking forward to sharing this conversation with you. So this is just a snippet of Dave's about page, and I want you to check it out when you get a chance to. I'm not a lifelong health and fitness fanatic. I wasn't the picture of health as a child. I am not a gifted athlete. I'm not into extreme sports. I'm not a daredevil. I'm not a marathoner. I'm not a runner. I don't like it, never have, don't get it, that's okay. And I love that, because he's a he's a personal trainer. So I love that he's not saying, right, I'm just, you know, super cool and fit and all the rest of it, and I can make you do the same. His approach is, from what I've read so far, very, very different. And so I just want to introduce you to Dave, and we'll have our conversation now and see where it goes. So, hello, Dave.
Hi, Maeve.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you, and thank you very much for asking me to do this.
And thank you for agreeing to do it as well. I have a list of questions that I'd like to ask you, and we don't have to stick to the format of, you know, question, answer, but I've got some things that I particularly want to include in the conversation, and especially bearing in mind that that video that you shared about forgiveness really impacted me, and it spoke to me at a time where I was exploring it myself in my own personal world, but also as I help people who are looking to find a life partner, and they're struggling with letting go and forgiving someone in their past. So I want to, before we start talking about forgiveness, just if you could give us a little bit of, I've given a snapshot of who you are and what you do, but if you could give us a little bit more about who you are and what you got into, the work that you got into and how you got into that.
Okay, well, I'll try to make it as brief as possible. When I was growing up, I knew that I was going to be a writer, Maeve, and like I have on my Philosophy of Dave blog, when I was 12 years old, I wrote my first short story. something happened on the journey. And when I got to college, someone convinced me that I could make a lot of money as a CPA, as a certified public accountant. And I had a technical aptitude for that sort of thing. And so that became my major, even though I went to a very small school and I was able to do a lot of different things. I majored in accounting, minored in religion and philosophy, and also in English, unofficially, but those were things that also attracted me. And I was also attracted to the stage, and I acted in about a dozen productions, acted or did some behind the scenes things. And that changed me a little bit as well, I think. I had a midlife crisis about 25 years old when I realized that I really did not like the profession that I had chosen. And I started this journey, and I was wrestling with what I was supposed to do for a long, long time. When I was, I think I was in college, I started lecturing at church. I'm a Catholic, and so a lector in the Catholic Church reads the readings before the gospel, and depending on the parish, we'll do some other things, some other reading. And I started to do that then, and I to this day think that that's probably the thing that I do best in life, is read the Word of God. It's nothing it flows out of me, and it's a gift that I've been given. It's not me, it's God speaking through me. He chose me to do that, and he gave me the gift of being able to do it well. So I've been on this struggle for years and years and years, and about the age of 40, I had a health crisis. It turned out to be relatively minor, but it was major to me, and it changed the way I ate. One thing led to another, and I got into the fitness profession. I thought, my goodness, I've got these clients that are, my focus is, I should take a step back. After 3.5 fairly unsuccessful years of working for other people, I dabbled in that a little bit. I jumped from job to job. But in 1992, I believe, in April of 92, I was fired from an accounting firm for the second time in as many years. And it was like I was just there for tax season, and then, okay, see you later, bye-bye. So I said, that's it. I'm not going to work for anybody else anymore. I'm a horrible employee anyway. So I started working for myself. And I had just a very small accounting firm. And I did that for people for many years. I still never really enjoyed the profession. And I still do income tax returns now for people that I've been working with for, my goodness, probably 20 or more years. And I enjoy the friendships much more than I enjoy dealing with the government.
Right.
Sure. So about the age of 40, I decided, I'm so worried about people's fiscal health.
Mm-hmm.
When if you don't have your physical health, which was a problem for me at the time, you really don't have anything. Mm-hmm. And that has slowly transformed. That was, I think 2004 was when I became certified as a personal trainer. And that's slowly evolved over time. My dad recently passed away 4 months ago. He passed away. But in he's had health challenges for quite a while, and he's had heart problems ever since I was in high school. So that's a long time ago. And
may I just add to something there? It was how you shared his journey with the world that was really touched my heart in a major, major way. And I think that was what really connected me to you, was how you shared the relationship you had, and I'm truly sorry for your loss, but I also know that he must be so incredibly proud of you for how you were by his side that whole time and how you spoke about him. It really was really just incredible, very moving.
Well, thank you. And that's, I am in debt to my mother and father for everything that they've done for me and for us. I have two sisters. They're both younger than me. One is 2 years younger. One is 14 years younger. And I always enjoyed my relationship with my parents. I never really, I was not a rebel even as a teenager. I did some stupid things like I guess most of us do. But I always enjoyed the time that I was able to spend with family. My mom still has such an incredible network of friends of all ages. And thank God, because that's been a major help to her in the last 4 months. She's devastated. She and Dad lived together for over 60 years. Yeah, and she's never been alone before. And thank God my daughter, Martha, lives with her now. Martha works in downtown Chicago. From here, it would be about a 2-hour commute.
Mm-hmm.
That's just crazy. So most of the week she's with mom, and then she'll occasionally come home on the weekend, but it depends on her schedule too. She does autopsies, so she's on autopsy. Yeah, that's not for me. But so she'll do that on the weekends, and so that's been a very fortunate thing, so that she's there for mom. But anyway, to get back to all of this, when I guess in 2013, Dad was very ill, and we saw it, and we were all very worried about him. I think more worried than he was, but he was retaining water, he was blowing up, and gaining weight. His heart was failing, and there's a procedure called a ventricular assist device, which is a device that actually sits on the heart.
Yeah.
And it pumps the blood for a person.
Mm-hmm.
There's one for the right side of the heart. There's one for the left. The one for the left is much more common. And Dad had an LVAD, a left assist ventricular device. And that kept him alive for about 2 years. It was just a little over 2 years from when he had the surgery, was released from the hospital. Let me think, it was May of 2014, and then he passed away in May of 2016. Mm-hmm. So he said, going into this surgery, knowing that it was going to be an incredibly challenging thing, we didn't know how incredibly challenging it was going to be. But through all of that, he said, I think I've got a couple of good years left in me. And I thought, after he died, I said, Dad, you should ask for 10. Yeah. You got your couple, and that was it. Boom. That was it. But it was very hard on all of us, particularly on my mom. And that is what really solidified my faith and has drawn me out, I think, a little bit more, so that I try to close most of my videos by saying, I am not a holy roller. I am not. I am a sinful guy. Every day there's something that ticks me off, or I do things that I know I'm not supposed to do. But I'm a messenger, and I do that well at church, and I just feel compelled to get this out of me. So that's why I do it.
Yeah. And I'm truly grateful that you do. And I'm learning, I'm stepping into my role in the world. And so when I hear you speak, it gives me encouragement, inspires me to know that I don't have to have it perfect. I don't have to have my life all sorted. But when I'm being given wisdom, when I'm being given nudges, and I know that I've been told to do something or say something or invite someone to whatever it is, then I'm more likely to say yes now, because I don't know where it's going to lead me, but I know that I'm being given information and instructions of what to do. And who am I to say no?
Right.
No.
Right. Exactly. That's so true.
Yeah, exactly. So
We have, and I have. I've done that before.
Yeah, same here for years.
Presented to me. And one thing that sticks out for me particularly is, and I don't even remember the timing of this, to be a deacon in the Catholic Church is a rigorous process. There's study for both husband and wife. And I had one of the deacons from our parish give me a packet of information. I think this was probably the early 90s. Maybe it was a little bit later than, I cannot remember when it was, but I just remember getting it and freezing. And I never did anything with that because I was afraid. We had 5 kids at the time. We're trying to raise a family. I just didn't feel like we were in a position financially for me to divert resources to that. So it's times like that when I said, yeah, God, thanks, but no.
Yeah.
So wrong, but I did it.
Yeah.
So here I am now, and now I feel like, okay, somebody's planting a seed that says, talk. So
yeah. Yeah.
Better.
That be.
Yeah, talk or else.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, many years ago, and I know we're kind of moving around the topic, but this obviously is meant to be shared. I was given a mission, a role, a purpose, a task, if you like, to do several years ago, and I said, I don't think I can. I don't know that I'm the right person. I don't feel confident about it. I don't know the right words. I don't think people will listen. Who am I? My life is a mess. How can I tell people this stuff when I haven't got it sorted? And now I'm like, you know what? I can't keep saying no. I can't keep saying no. And what I've noticed is that since I said, all right then, if you want me to do this, I'll do it. I have no idea where it's going to go. And here I am talking to you now because I said yes. And then, stuff shows up and opportunities are opened up, and information that I may not have noticed before is also becoming more in my presence. And I'm like, oh, so that's how it works. Say yes, and then the next step will be shown.
Right.
And then the next step, and then, but say no, and well, let's see what happens then, right?
Right. Yeah, face the consequences.
Yeah, you'll face my wrath.
Yes.
But the video that I've mentioned before, and I'm not sure if you recall the video that I'm referring to, it was, and I don't even remember the detail of it. I just remember the impact of it. Was you were talking about forgiveness, and it was like you were channeling information, I suppose, and it's like you're hearing the word of God and you're speaking what you're being guided to speak. And it was at a moment in my life where forgiveness became a very big focal point. And so I was just wondering, what was it that prompted you to record that video?
Well, I don't remember specifically what it was about that video, but I do know that forgiveness and mercy has become critical in my thinking about what we need to do for others, and because that's what Christ has called us to do. And in the Bible, I don't remember the exact. I'm not a biblical scholar, so I don't remember the exact verse. But Peter asks, how many times should we forgive somebody? 7 times. And he just kind of sounds like he's just kind of throwing out a number.
Yeah.
But in the translation, Jesus says 77 times, or he says 70 times 7. In other words, 7 has a connotation as being kind of a perfect number in the Bible. So what he's saying is unlimited. There you forgive someone an infinite number of times. There is no limit to forgiveness you're supposed to give another person. And through the entire, I'm trying to remember when I actually was introduced to something called the Chaplet of Divine Mercy. There is a saint in the Catholic Church named Saint Faustina, Maria Kowalska Faustina. She was a Polish nun. She was uneducated, and she was called to become a nun. And she had some difficulty finding acceptance because she really wasn't qualified. Well, this young lady died at a very early age. Prior to that, she received many, many visits from Christ, speaking to her about divine mercy and about the need to show mercy. Sister Faustina lived I remember some of the writings of the diary are from the 1930s. So she was living at the time of the world wars, and obviously, and living in Poland, which was kind of the epicenter of what was happening in the world and with all of the tumult at the time. And Christ was appearing to her, and these visions, these apparitions, have been documented by the Catholic Church and accepted as truth. She was telling her confessor and other people things that she couldn't have known about because she wasn't an educated woman. And yet she was speaking the truth about what the Catholic Church has been teaching for centuries. So somebody had to be giving her this information. And it certainly wasn't something that she got. I don't know why I should have those,
Okay.
those muted. Oh my gosh. Let's see if I can mute them. So I have been very much drawn to, let me just do that. Can you still hear me?
I can.
Okay, good. Still?
Yep, absolutely.
Good. And I better not quiet the Zoom meeting because that's us. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm not touching mine in case I cut us off and
Okay. Hopefully there's no more of that ding dong. Okay.
I quite like it. It's like a reminder. Yeah, you're doing well. Keep going. Yeah.
So I started praying the Chaplet of Divine Mercy because I thought, my goodness, and what it makes perfect sense. Jesus is love and mercy itself. That is when you think about what happens and through our journey with Dad, it was clear that there was something that was keeping him alive. Doctors, nurses, staff, nobody would even use the word hopeful, Maeve, with my dad. I tried to drag that word out of somebody, and they wouldn't say it. Everyone expected Dad to die before he had this LVAD surgery because of all the complications that he had. He didn't. So tough. I cannot tell you how tough this man was and what he endured. And it became very clear that we're all headed in the same place. And I mean, it's obvious that's what's happening. But it's so easy to overlook in our day-to-day, and when we're thinking about work and we're thinking about accumulating, we're thinking about buying things, we think about relationships, and we don't think about dying. We don't think about what happens when we meet Christ at the end of our lives. And it became very clear to me, that's where we're headed. We better be ready.
Yeah.
And we're not perfect. We're not going to be perfect. Through all of this, I mean, I am not anybody to judge, but I would suspect that some of the things that Dad did were sinful in the eyes of God, I'm guessing. And yet he kept doing those, we're human beings. We're imperfect human beings. But it became very clear to me that we need to be right in our relationship, and we need to pray for all those people who are not right in their relationship with God and that need our prayers to help them. Jesus said to Saint Faustina, even the most hardened sinner, if he will say the chaplet once before he dies, he will be granted my complete mercy.
Mm. Wow.
Who are we to argue with that?
Wow.
Yeah. And he also said, I demand from you deeds of mercy. 3 ways that we can show mercy: by deed, by word, and by prayer. There's a lot of times when I will still have an angry word for somebody. I'll have an angry word for the driver over here, or whoever, or just an angry thought.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you better knock that out of your head, and you better wrap your mind around forgiveness.
Indeed.
And it again, I'm not a holy roller, not at all, but I know that we can rely on that. Jesus himself said it. Who am I to argue with that?
Exactly. And what I love about how you talk about it is that you bring it into today's world and make it real. The conversations that you're having with people, the videos that you're sharing, the posts that you're posting on Facebook, it's making that connection, that it's not just, something that happened a few thousand years ago, and this book was written and it's old, it's it's irrelevant. It's making it relevant, it's making it tangible, and it's making it real. And I really appreciate that, because this is something that I know I don't have the confidence in. I don't quote scripture because I don't have the confidence in I can't read it off verbatim and all the rest of it. But I know that there are some essences to it that I love, and I go, wow, this is really powerful, and I get now what this is talking about. And the idea of love and forgiveness and mercy that is throughout, it's woven throughout all the stories and messages. We can apply that in our daily interactions, and I'm not saying we can do it perfectly, because, as you say, we're human,
right?
But we can do our best,
right?
And as much as we can do. And one thing that when I'm working with clients who are holding on to someone who maybe did them wrong years ago, maybe even decades ago, and they're still talking about it as though it happened just this morning, I'm wondering, what can they do to give themselves that space, and like, who is forgiveness for? Is it for the person who needs to forgive? Is it for the other person who needs to be forgiven? What would you say about that?
Wow. It's for both of us. And it's not something that we can do perfectly. We have to rely on God to help through the situation. I know there's techniques. I know psychologists would probably give us, kind of a checklist of things that, you do this, do that. And I can't say that I'd throw it out the window, but in anger, I probably would. It all comes back to Jesus saying, I will give you my mercy. I want to give you my mercy. Even if you cannot forget about what a person has done to you, you can ask Christ, ask God, ask a saint, or Christ's mother, Mary, to intercede for you on your behalf. You can ask friends to pray for you, to try to forgive. If all else fails, if you try what the books tell you to do and you still feel like you can't forgive, rely on other people and say, I want to forgive. I guess so then that prompts me to think, well, okay, if I want, you have to have the desire to do it. Whoops, please. I'm frozen on my screen.
Yes, it's possibly my computer. Wow. It's getting a bit warm now.
Okay, that's really a scary look on my face. I'm not looking. Wow.
But I can still hear you, so hopefully it's still recording.
Good. I hope so. I have the little icon that says recording, so I'm
Okay, cool.
good. Yeah, I don't want
Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see how it comes out.
just for fun. I'll throw on the voice recorder if I can get my fingers to cooperate. Okay.
I've never seen this happen before.
Yeah, that's really wild. Ooh, wow.
But at least you're looking upwards.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Hey, guy, what's up? We have the most important thing is that's so weird. It's got to be my computer. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, I'm still moving on my screen, so I don't know if it could be mine. I don't know, but the voice is still being heard. So
Okay, good. Well, I've got you full screen, so I don't have to look at me.
oh dear.
So that's good.
That's a bit concerning, but anyway.
The most important thing, Maeve, is we have to at least desire to want to forgive.
Indeed.
And if we can do that, then we can ask other people to help us to forgive.
Exactly.
Forget, and there may be good reasons for us not to forget, so that we don't get ourselves involved in a similar situation, so that we don't repeat mistakes of the past, so that we don't let another person take control of our lives or hurt us. Also, so that we can change, and we try to. Our life should be a complete body of work, so that we're constantly evolving. I think that's pretty evident in me. So it's important that even if we don't feel we can forgive, at least want to forgive.
Yeah.
Try to get that feeling within us that I want to forgive.
And is there I know that we've kind of looked at and explored the idea of forgiveness and where it comes from and who it's for. Have you got any ideas on how to forgive someone? I mean, one of the things that I have worked through with myself and others is like writing stuff down and saying what I'm willing to forgive, and kind of releasing the person or situation for their best and highest good, and let it go, kind of thing. Is there anything that you could suggest that somebody might do or say to help them on their journey of forgiving themselves or other people?
I don't know. Here's where I'm feeling a bit unqualified to give that kind of advice, but I can relate the situation that happened right on the heels of my dad's death. It was a horribly sad situation. Well, let me give you some background. When I met my wife Kathy, she had 2 children, Sarah and Andy. She was divorced, and Kathy shared details of her marriage with Dan, who was her husband. I'm not going to get into any of the details, but I didn't like this guy at all. And we never had any sort of a relationship.
Right.
As a matter of fact, after we got married, we wanted to move from Illinois to Arizona, another state, and we did that. And of course, well, I shouldn't say that. I'll stick to the facts. Kathy told me before I met her that Dan wasn't seeing the kids regularly. Then I came into her life, and then he wanted regular visits with the children. When we told him that we were moving to Arizona, he said, fine, then I don't want to pay you child support, which I thought was a little ridiculous, I'll be honest. But I also said, fine, forget it.
Mm-hmm.
And for a number of years, there was no relationship between the children and their biological father. We moved back to Illinois about not even 2 years later. And at the time when I met Kathy, and actually when we got married, Sarah was 9, Andy was 7. When we moved back to Illinois, and when Sarah was a teenager, we found out that on visits to her friend's house, her father was making contact with her and seeing her. So that opened up this wound again.
Mm.
And there was there was what I'm blanking on the word. It was a very strained relationship
Right.
between Kathy and me and him. And any visits that they had together, that the kids had with him, were completely separate, and I'm sure that they talked with Kathy about it a little bit, and we really didn't talk that much. Well, in recent years, Dan has been ill, and he was going for an operation just around the time, I'm trying to remember if it was just after my dad died, the day that my dad died, or if it was a day or two before that.
Right.
But he went to the hospital and he told Sarah about it. Dan ended up dying the day we buried my dad.
Wow.
It's a little hard to talk about.
Mm.
Of course, that put a strain on Andy and Sarah. Both of them are married. Both of them have spouses and children. And of course, their loyalties were divided, and not in a bad way. They wanted to be there for us and for Grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
But this was their dad. And so, of course, they had to split their time between wake, funeral, cemetery. As soon as we were at the cemetery, and I think it was as they were sealing the crypt where my dad is buried, they got a call that Dan had passed away. So it was an incredible set of circumstances. I try to pray for him as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy just like me.
Mm-hmm.
And I am sorry. If I'm to believe the words that Jesus shared with Saint Faustina,
Yeah.
he is as worthy of Jesus's forgiveness and mercy as I am.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to pray for him
Yes.
as much as I pray for my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to do that. Is it easy? No. But it's necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the right thing to do. It's years of contemplation, I guess, and meditation.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really consider myself much of a meditator, but I guess that is what I do. I just don't call it that.
Yeah.
That's gotten me to the point where I know that that's what I am called to do
Mm-hmm.
as a child of God.
Absolutely.
Because he's a child of God too.
Absolutely.
His journey is not my journey.
Yeah.
So
Wow, that's a very powerful story, and thank you so much for sharing it, because it really does highlight the challenge of, the journey of forgiving someone and walking this path and sitting with that and being with that. and who am I to judge? There's that element to the whole thing of like, I don't know where this person's come from. I don't know what their journey has brought them to be who they are, and the decisions they've made for their life. So I can't sit there saying, I'm not going to forgive this person, that person, or the next person, because I'm not free of doing things myself. So it's quite remarkable that you have been able to see that and express that and share that. And I really do feel that somebody watching this, listening to you share that very powerful emotional journey that you've been on with your family, I feel that this will help someone. And I'm so grateful that you said yes to having this conversation with me. And I look forward to seeing more of your videos. And I know it's frozen at the moment, but I just feel that this conversation was meant to take place. And I don't think that it's as much the visual as much as the message that matters, really. So let's just hope that the recording has captured at least what you were sharing, because I feel privileged to be sitting here listening to you talk about this. And I'm sure it gives hope and strength to others who are going through similar circumstances in their lives. We just don't know what's around the corner. And we don't know, when it's going to be our turn. So thank you so much for sharing with such openness and authentic emotion. It's just, you're a gift. And I really am, like I said, just very, very grateful that you said yes, and we have had this chance to connect in this way. So I'm gonna wrap up in a second, but I would like to, I'm gonna post your links to your 2 websites below, because anybody watching this may want to find out a bit more about who you are and what you do, and maybe follow your posts and videos. You've probably got thousands of people watching you already anyway. But I saw on your Philosophy of Dave website that you've got quite a few thousand subscribers. So I would imagine that a few people will at least want to be, adding to that. And so the links will be below this video for you to both those websites. I just wonder if there's anything that you would like to share with anyone who's watching about work that you're doing, events that you're involved in, or anything that you particularly want to share just now before we go.
Okay, I guess there's 2 things. I would like to just plug the business a little bit,
Good.
but I want to say that it's important for someone to just immerse themselves in prayer, and prayer to God, to ask them for help with whatever you're struggling with. Pray to God. Meditating is okay. This is my Roman Catholic upbringing coming through here. But if we don't pray to our Creator, we're really missing the point. And I didn't get to this point because I'm some really cool superhuman guy. I got to this point because I've contemplated my relationship with the divine and our relationship with the divine. And it's nothing more than that. And we still have to live, and we still have to argue about stupid things like politics. If anybody reads what or watches what happened yesterday, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I watched your video last night.
That was fun, let me tell you. And I'm sure there's still going to be some, well, I probably have a few more things to say as the days go on.
I'm glad that you do. I'm glad that you do.
it's important. We are at a critical juncture in our history,
Mm-hmm.
and those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it.
That's right.
And I'm afraid that might be happening at a very critical moment in the history of humanity. So there's that. As I make my living, I'm transitioning from accounting, and like I say, I still do. I've done tax work for people, and I have this relationship with people, and I love them as human beings.
Mm.
So it's fun to help them in that way, because I do have the gift or talent or whatever you want to call it to be a CPA. So I still enjoy that, but I am really not soliciting any more clients for that, because I feel called to helping people as we age. When I became a personal trainer, I
Mm-hmm.
had no idea that I would, in a very short period of time, very rapid progression, I would be working with some people who were very debilitated.
Right.
And I made, that was also a gift, because I made the tremendous discovery that we can get better physically
Mm-hmm.
with just a little bit of focus on what we're doing. My passion when it comes to fitness is strength training.
Right.
Now, that doesn't mean I have to load 300 pounds onto a barbell and yank that up in the air and stick it on my back and do squats.
Yeah.
I loved doing those things when I was first engaging in my own journey of trying to get a little bit better physically. But we don't have to do that. And I've worked with people that have had strokes,
Wow.
people that have muscular sclerosis, MS,
Oh.
people with Parkinson's disease, people that have recovering from back surgeries, different things like this.
Mm.
You can get better even if you have a disease that people say you're going to end up in a wheelchair or whatever.
Oh, I've lost you now.
Yeah, I've got to.
You're back. You're back.
Okay, I gotta notice that our internet connection was unstable.
Yeah, I got that as well. But you're back, so I can hear you.
Woo, yay! Okay, so my big focus when it comes to fitness, we need everything. We need nutrition. We need to do cardiovascular exercise to strengthen the heart and lungs and blah blah blah. We need flexibility. We need to do all these other things, rest and etc. But my big thing is strength training, because I have proven it. Studies have proven it, and I have done it anecdotally. Yeah, I guess that's right. Anecdotally and empirically, just from my personal experience, have validated
Mm-hmm.
that strength training will help you to lead a more, let's just say, an independent existence. I guess that's the best way I can say it right now. It's going to help you if you're having trouble getting up out of a chair.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of strength training is going to help you do it. If you can't get off the floor, if you're scrubbing the floor and it's a struggle to get up, a little bit of strength training will help. So many areas of our life. If you want to just try to keep up with the kids and the soccer field or whatever, strength training is like a magic potion.
Right.
So anyway, that's the big thing. So if anybody wants to learn more, I shared with you before we started, I am working on a product, a digital product to deliver to people. I love the clients that I work with, but this message is so important, and we've got an aging population worldwide.
Indeed.
People need this information, and they need simple. They don't need a lot of bells and whistles. They need to know that it's a very simple process. So I say that I am the guy that can help people who hate to exercise but love to eat.
Hello.
And and strength training means you never have to say you're full. You can just eat it. And that's true. Now you have to be a little bit more fanatical about it, but if you do, that can actually work too for somebody that really wants to get serious about it. But I'm
So this product, is it a video product? Is it digital? What is it?
It's going to be it's going to be a digital video product
Okay.
that will be delivered to you so that you can follow exercises. You can do them for yourself. There'll be a written piece separate from that, so that if you're a better learner from reading, you can read it. If you're a better visual learner, you've got it in front of you. I want, as I'm developing this, I want you to be able to practice along with me, but you can do it in the privacy of your own home. This product doesn't require any props other than just having something to watch the videos or read read what I've written about it.
Perfect.
That's it.
Oops. Sorry, there's something falling down the stairs in my...
Uh-oh. Well,
look, Dave, it's been wonderful. The internet's playing up now, and we've got all sorts of background distractions going on. So I think maybe we should call it a day for now. And, I'd love to have more conversations with you like this if you're open to that. And
absolutely.
Again, thank you so, so much for being so willing and open to sharing your journey, your story, and your pearls of wisdom with us. Thank you so much.
Oh, Maeve, it's a pleasure, and I am honored. I am very honored that you asked me, and it's a pleasure to share.
So thank you for watching this, and if you want to check out Dave's website on his philosophy of Dave, or his fitness website to find out more about that digital product that he's just mentioned, I've got some links below this video that you can click on to take you straight there. So bye for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to sharing more with you soon. Take care. Bye for now.